Hey there, cosmic explorers. Sebastian here, and we're about to embark on our most profound journey yet through the quantum realms of existence. In our previous episodes, we've ventured into multiple universes, unraveled the illusion of time, and questioned the very nature of reality. But today we're going to dive into the deepest mystery of all, consciousness itself. What if I told you that consciousness isn't just something you have, but something you are? What if consciousness isn't a product of the brain, but the very fabric of the universe itself? What if you, yes, you listening right now, are not just a tiny speck in a vast, indifferent cosmos, but the entire universe experiencing itself from a unique vantage point? I know it sounds wild, but stick with me, because we're about to explore a perspective that could fundamentally change how you see yourself and your place in the cosmos. Let's start by revisiting something we touched on in our very first episode, the observer effect in quantum mechanics. Remember how the act of observation seems to collapse quantum possibilities into definite realities? Well, what if that's not just a quirk of quantum systems, but a fundamental principle of the entire universe? Imagine for a moment that consciousness isn't something that emerged from complex arrangements of matter, but the other way around. What if consciousness is the primary reality, the sourceless source from which all phenomena arise, exist within, and eventually return to? This idea isn't as far-fetched as it might sound. In fact, it aligns with some cutting-edge theories in physics and philosophy. Take, for example, the integrated information theory proposed by neuroscientist Giulio Tononi. This theory suggests that consciousness is a fundamental property of the universe, present to some degree in everything, from atoms to galaxies. Or consider the work of physicist John Wheeler, who proposed the idea of a participatory universe. In this view, the act of observation doesn't just reveal reality, it creates it. As Wheeler famously put it, we are participators in bringing into being not only the near and here, but the far away and long ago. But let's push this idea even further. What if the entire universe is a vast field of consciousness, and what we perceive as physical reality is just the play of that consciousness with itself? In this view, everything from the chair you're sitting on to the farthest galaxy is a manifestation of consciousness. And here's where it gets really wild. In this perspective, you are not separate from this universal consciousness. You are it, experiencing itself from a particular vantage point. Your individual consciousness is like a wave on the vast ocean of universal consciousness, distinct in form, but not separate in essence. Let that sink in for a moment. You are not in the universe, you are the universe. Your consciousness is not just observing reality, it's actively participating in creating it. Every thought, every feeling, every action is the universe experiencing and expressing itself through you. This idea resonates with ancient wisdom traditions from around the world. The Vedantic concept of Tat Tivyam Asi, or thou art that, expresses this very notion that your innermost self is identical with the ultimate reality. Or consider the Buddhist concept of anatta, or no self, which suggests that our sense of a separate, permanent self is an illusion. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Sebastian, this sounds like mystical mumbo-jumbo. Where's the science? And it's a fair question. But here's the thing: as we push deeper into the nature of reality, the line between science and mysticism begins to blur. Take, for example, the holographic principle in physics. This theory suggests that the information contained in a volume of space can be described by information on its boundary. Some physicists have extended this to propose that the entire universe might be a hologram, with our three-dimensional reality emerging from information encoded on a two-dimensional surface. Now, consider this alongside the idea we just discussed that consciousness is fundamental and that physical reality emerges from it. Suddenly, the holographic universe takes on a new meaning. What if our physical reality is a projection of consciousness, much like a hologram is a projection of information? But let's bring this back to your lived experience. How does this perspective change how you see yourself and your life? For one thing, it suggests that you are far more powerful and significant than you might have thought. If your consciousness is actively participating in creating reality, then your thoughts, beliefs, and intentions have real power to shape your experience. It also challenges our usual notions of separation. If everything is a manifestation of the same underlying consciousness, then the boundaries between you and not you start to dissolve. That person you see as a stranger? They're another expression of the same consciousness that you are. That tree outside your window? Same thing? This perspective also offers a profound sense of belonging. If you are the universe experiencing itself, then you can never truly be alone or out of place. Wherever you are, whatever you're experiencing, you're exactly where you need to be for the universe to have that particular experience. But perhaps most importantly, this view opens up incredible possibilities for growth and transformation. If your individual consciousness is a focal point of universal consciousness, then you have the potential to expand your awareness, to experience more and more of your true nature as the cosmic consciousness. Now, you might be wondering, if we're all expressions of the same consciousness, why don't we experience it that way? Why do we feel separate and limited? Well, one way to think about it is like this imagined consciousness as an infinite ocean. Your individual awareness is like a whirlpool in that ocean. The whirlpool has a distinct form and location, but it's made of the same water as the rest of the ocean. It's separate in one sense, but deeply connected in another. Our usual experience of separation comes from identifying solely with the whirlpool, with our individual thoughts, feelings, and experiences. But with practices like meditation, contemplation, or even deep scientific inquiry, we can begin to sense the vast ocean of consciousness that we're part of. And here's where it gets really interesting. If consciousness is fundamental and everything is a manifestation of it, then the entire universe is, in a sense, alive and aware. Every particle, every planet, every galaxy could be seen as a focal point of cosmic consciousness, each experiencing reality from its unique perspective. This idea resonates with some intriguing scientific observations. For instance, scientists have discovered that plants can learn and remember, despite not having brains. Some researchers have even suggested that neurons might not be necessary for consciousness, pointing to the complex behaviors of single-celled organisms. At larger scales, we see incredibly complex, seemingly intelligent behaviors emerging in systems like ecosystems, weather patterns, and even galaxies. What if these aren't just the blind interactions of mindless matter, but the expressions of a vast cosmic intelligence? Now, I want to be clear, this perspective doesn't mean we should abandon scientific inquiry or rational thinking. Far from it. In fact, it invites us to expand our science, to develop new ways of exploring and understanding the subjective, experiential aspects of reality alongside the objective, measurable aspects. After all, if consciousness is fundamental, then our subjective experience is not just a secondary phenomenon, but a direct perception of an essential aspect of reality. Our feelings, intuitions, and altered states of consciousness might be as important to understanding the universe as our mathematical models and scientific instruments. This view also has profound implications for how we understand life and evolution. Instead of seeing life as something that emerged by chance in an indifferent universe, we might see it as an inherent tendency of the cosmos. If consciousness is fundamental, then perhaps the universe naturally tends towards creating systems that can reflect on and recognize their own conscious nature. In this light, the evolution of life on Earth, and potentially throughout the cosmos, is not just a random process, but the universe's way of developing ever more complex and aware focal points of consciousness. Human beings, with our capacity for self-reflection and abstract thought, might be the universe's way of looking back at itself and pondering its own existence. But let's take it a step further. If consciousness is primary and physical reality emerges from it, then perhaps the laws of physics themselves are not fixed and eternal, but more like habits of cosmic consciousness. This idea, proposed by biologist Rupert Sheldrake as the theory of morphic resonance, suggests that the regularities of nature are more like learned behaviors than immutable laws. This could explain why the fundamental constants of physics seem to be fine-tuned for life. Instead of invoking multiple universes or an intelligent designer, we might understand this fine-tuning as the natural result of a universe learning to support increasingly complex forms of consciousness. Now, I know we've ventured into some pretty far-out territory here. So let's bring it back to your everyday experience. How might you live differently if you truly embrace the idea that you are the universe experiencing itself? For one thing, you might approach your challenges and struggles differently. Instead of seeing them as obstacles to overcome or punishments to endure, you might view them as the universe exploring different facets of experience through you. You might also find a deeper sense of connection with others and with nature. If everyone and everything is an expression of the same underlying consciousness, then empathy and compassion become natural responses to the world around you. And perhaps most profoundly, you might discover a sense of purpose that goes beyond personal achievement or social recognition. If you are the universe in human form, then your deepest purpose might be to fully explore and express your unique perspective, to be the specific note that only you can contribute to the cosmic symphony. As we wrap up this cosmic journey, I want to leave you with a thought experiment. The next time you look in the mirror, try to see beyond the surface appearance. Look into your own eyes and consider the awareness looking back at you. That awareness peering out through your eyes is the same awareness that shines through the stars. You are not just a tiny speck in a vast universe. You are the entire cosmos, focusing its infinite consciousness through the lens of your unique perspective. How does that change how you see yourself? How does it change how you approach your life? In the end, whether consciousness is truly fundamental or an emergent property of complex systems, this perspective serves as a powerful reminder of our deep connection to the cosmos. It encourages us to live with greater awareness, to treat ourselves and others with more compassion, and to approach the mystery of existence with awe and wonder. As always, we've only scratched the surface of this mind-bending topic. In our next episode, we'll explore another fascinating idea, the concept of reality as a vast, interconnected network of information, and how this view might reshape our understanding of physics, biology, and even society. But until then, keep questioning, keep exploring, and remember, you are not just in the universe. You are the universe. Make it a beautiful experience. This is Sebastian, and you've been listening to The Quantum Observer. Until next time, stay curious, and may your cosmic journey be filled with wonder and insight.